Hello guys, welcome back to the Beastie Room. Today we're going to have a little bit of a recap on our Cupiennius salei, the tiger wandering spider. Now this has been an ongoing project and not a very successful one, so we're changing things around a little. Now you regulars would have remembered these guys when we were growing these on. We grew them on in these little tiny fruit fly pots and they done really well, so well in fact that we kept them in there until they were pretty much adult size. This is an adult female in here, and this is the last home that we put her in. And you can see there the size of her to the size of that tub. It's quite incredible that they actually flourished in these small tubs. So it works really well. But obviously there comes a point where we need to upgrade them. So we put them in these. Now we've managed to pair these females, and we've had 5 or 6 egg sacs now, and not one of them really has been any good. Out of that 5 or 6 egg sacs, I think we've had about 5 babies, which is absolutely dismal, pathetic, absolutely pathetic. So we're obviously not doing it right, are we? So we need to change things around. So we've had them in these, we've had them in the small exos, we've had them in the airtight tubs. Nothing's working. So we're going to change it. What we're going to attempt this time is we're going to move them over to this exo, which is a 30 by 45, and we're going to set it up as one of our bioactive systems. We've got a nice fern here. This is a maidenhead fern, absolutely one of my favourites. This is a lovely plant, quite difficult to keep, so we'll have to see how this goes, because that might not work either. So what we're going to do, we're going to set this up. Now we've been experimenting a little bit, and we did make some backgrounds, because the backgrounds that you get in your Exoterra tanks, the foam backgrounds on their own, I think are absolutely awful, and I generally throw them away. I don't like them. But I see somewhere, I can't remember where, I saw somewhere online where they actually covered them in their own sort of substrate and stuff, and that's what I've done here. I smeared this all over with silicone and literally covered it in Beastie substrate, so it gives it that little bit of a natural look, and it hides that awful polystyrene effect look. And then all I done on the back was I cut the backs off, because there's like there's a raised piece here and on the ends, so I cut it flat, so this now sits flush to the glass, so she can't really get behind it. That's the idea anyway, that's what we're hoping for. So we're going to pop that in there. Now it's a little bit undersized, but not too bad. So what we do is we put it up there, it sits flush to the back of the glass, so it works really well. She can't get behind there. But just to help it out a little bit, we've got some moss here. Now this is just regular like sphagnum moss that you get from your garden centre. Now there's a nice little tip there. Get your sphagnum moss from the garden centre, because it's an awful lot cheaper than your reptile shops. And then all we're going to do is we are going to literally just squeeze that in there like so. Put it in there. And then what that's going to do, that is going to fill that gap, and it's also going to help hold our backing in place. Nice and simple. We don't have to be too finicky with it. Literally just get it in there. Make sure it goes all the way into the back. And also, this will allow you to do 2 things. It'll seal the gap, but it also means, should we want to increase the humidity in here, because this is going to have a fully vented top, to increase the humidity we can soak this moss here, and it will help draw it out without soaking the enclosure. So we'll just pull these bits out of the floor now, get rid of this, get rid of our sphagnum moss. There you go, look at that, massive great big bag. I think there's something like 2 litres in there for 10 quid. Dirt cheap, really good stuff. So what we do now, we're going to fill the bottom up with our balls. clay balls in here. That'll do that. Them in there. We've got our mesh. Put that in there like so. Now we can top this up with our regular potting compost. Put that in so. Now we're going to put a fair amount of it in here because hopefully we want to get this really quite humid. And by putting a good thick layer, it will help hold the moisture in the bottom of the enclosure. So that in effect will mean it will leach out slower. Put that in there like so. That's it. See how it's starting to take a little bit of shape now? Starting to get there. Now we've got, we'll put a little bit more in. Actually throw this in here. Because what we have got is our plant. We want to give that a nice area to sit in. And we've got this lovely fern here. Now you might be thinking that's a little bit big for that tank, but it will fit. Good idea, good tip with these. If you look at them from above, any plant, look at it from above, so you look at it like that, and you will see there is a back to it and there is a front. So this back here, there's less growth here, so that's what we're going to put in the back of the tank. And then all this lovely trailing growth at the front, we can make use of. You literally just give the roots a slight squeeze, just to loosen them up a little bit. Very delicate, these ferns. You have to be a little careful. There we go. Hopefully, I do love these. There we go. Look at that. Doesn't that look beautiful? Right. Get rid of this. Now we're going to top up with some beastie substrate. Because don't forget, that's got all our goodies in it. Our spring towels and our isopods. And because this is a natural leaf mulch that's been breaking down, it's also got all the nutrients and what have you, which will benefit our plants as well. So plant that in there like so. Lovely. Now we're really starting to get somewhere. Now we've got our branches here, but what I want to do now is get our moss in before we do anything else. So the moss is going to help lock in the moisture. One way or another, we are going to make this a lovely humid environment. I'm going to pick this up here. There. Now it's really starting to take some shape, guys. This. Now this time of year, the moss can be a little bit, not always at its best. So we have to bring it on and hopefully encourage it, and it should grow all right. It's normally this time of year it dries out quite badly. There we go. So we get all that like so. Now we're getting there. Now we're getting there. So we've got our natural wood that we've collected as well. And we're going to let's put this in here. There we go. We're really starting to take some shape now. Got this piece here. Ooh. Need to get that. we go. Starting to take a little bit of shape. And this plant will soon pick itself up and right itself. There we go, a little bit of a helping hand. Lovely. Now the idea with this branching is because with these guys, they molt out hanging upside down from the branches. So she can climb up under here, get in there, and she can dangle and she'll be able to molt out. Very, very important. And as with the plant in the back here, she can actually come down into there. So we don't really need to give her a hide as such with bark up against the background or whatever. So because what we're hoping to do is if she uses the plant to hide in, it's dense enough for her to feel secure, then when we pop the male in, it will all fall into place and it'll be nice and easy. He'll be able to find her, she'll find him. And then also as well, once the deed is done, hopefully he'll be able to just disappear. Whereas if he finds her behind a bit of bark, he could well get trapped. So that's the theory behind that. We would like our male to survive and live another day. So what we're going to do now, we're going to get our water bowl, which I think we can place up there. We're literally just going to put a dab of glue on that. Just put that like there, like so. Quick whiz of water. Yeah. And then we're gonna let's give this all a real good soaking now. Now we can afford to put a lot of water into this. One, because it is the bioactive system, so any excess water will just drain down into the clay balls. But also because we're running a fully vented top, so we won't end up with stagnant air or anything like that. It will dissipate and move and eventually just work its way out, which will give us that humidity as it rises up. So we can put the top on now. Another thing with these guys, always make sure if you're using an Exoterra, make sure your vents at the back are shut. Some small spiders have been known to disappear through the vents. Get rid of that. Now we're going to move her into here. Now I think that looks actually quite nice. Now then, these guys are very fast. They're quite capable of jumping as well. So they can move exceptionally fast. So what we're going to do, I think what we're going to do, we're going to try and encourage her to walk into this new environment rather than catching her up. We're going to try to avoid the catch cut because it's quite an intrusive way of dealing with your spider, really. And we're okay here. We've got the room here to be able to manoeuvre and mess about. We'll just get rid of my glue gun just in case. You don't want to go landing on a red hot glue gun. So we've got our paintbrush. Now don't forget, these guys, they are quick, they can jump, and they have got quite a nip to them. And although there's not been many documented accounts of their bites, those that have are showing them to be rather painful. So let's be very, very careful now. And what I'm hoping to do is just to move her very gently into this corner. And if we can get her to go that way, all being good, and we're going to take her very, very slowly. What we wanted to do is to sort of get her to go at her own pace. There we go. Notice she's laying web down all the time. And then we're going to move this old tank out of the way. And there you go. She's found the piece of wood. You noticed here, the silk is still attached to her abdomen, to her spinnerets, and it's attached to the tank here. And you can see there, we are lifting her abdomen up and down. So we're going to just break that with a paintbrush so that we can move our tank away without upsetting her. We can run that under there. That's it, it's snapped, it's gone now. She's no longer connected. Now, as you can see there, this is a spider with a fearsome reputation, and she's moved over to there, as sweet as a nut. Absolutely lovely. Now, as we were saying earlier on, in terms of environment for these guys, we like them to be in a very humid environment. This is what they really, really enjoy, and we're hoping that in this setup that will provide just that. You see her abdomen working there. She's laying web down all the time. Now, these guys are what I would class as a thinking spider. You can see them sometimes looking and working things out, and then all of a sudden they'll make a jump for something. They're very, very clever little spiders. And they're very sight orientated. So she will be able to see that camera, see it moving, and she'll be trying to ascertain what's going on. In terms of food, we feed these guys on red runner roaches. They will take on a full-grown adult female red runner. We tend to feed these on the males, and that's purely because the males are very, very active, and they'll run around, and I think it's nice for her to actually hunt them and live a more natural life in that respect. And you can have an awful lot of fun with these when it comes to feeding time by feeding them in that way, because they are very, very active, really are keen hunters. They tend to be more nocturnal than anything, although you will see them sitting out in the daytime. But if you want to see them active, night time's your time to do it. Now, temperature-wise, we keep these up around about the 80 degrees, and it seems to work really nicely. They do thrive. They do really, really well. We just need to crack this egg sac business, because what we're getting is egg sacs that are drying out. And I'm not 100% sure as to why this is happening. It doesn't seem to make any sense, because we've had them in fully vented enclosures and we've had them in sealed units. We're getting the same effect. Oh, excuse me. So I'm not 100% sure as to how we're going to do that. So we've moved on to this now, and I think that is a lovely, lovely enclosure. I think that looks really, really nice. I'm pleased with that. And what we will do now is we will give her a week or so to settle in, get herself accustomed to everything, and then we'll move our male in. He's been going strong. He's still as strong as the day he matured, so he's a very long-lived male. It's very good. We will pop him in there, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of footage. It might be difficult because of the amount of plant in there, but we'll give it a go. We have got footage of them mating in this, so we might well introduce that, show that first maybe. But yeah, so there you go. The Cupiennius salei, the tiger wandering spider. If you're fairly steady with your spiders, these are a very interesting one to keep and work with. And yeah, I would recommend them, but you do need to be quite steady. They can be a bit of a handful, can be very, very fast, so you have to be careful. But as you can see there, she's very calm. She's more than happy, more than happy. She's absolutely beautiful. You see how steady she is. Very, very cool spider, and hopefully we've shown a completely different side to these guys. Most of what you see and hear about them is pretty awful. All very scary stuff, but as you can see, that is a wonderful spider in its own right, and it deserves a better spotlight. Hopefully we've done that today. Right then, hope you enjoyed that. Keep your eyes open for the updates, because we will follow this one through. And as before, don't forget, be calm, be gentle, and love your spider. I'll see you soon, guys.